All right, guys, you asked the questions. It's time for some answers. Now, the questions were actually pretty darn good. So I picked 5 quickies and then 5 that I'm going to go into a little more depth with. So, let's get started. Ekpauly asked, how big is my property, and when I get done with my park, am I going to have competitions? The answer, yes. And the property for the park is about 2 acres, give or take a little bit. Scottish RC asked, is there much of a difference in the startup between the Axe 2300 and the 2700? Now the 2300 kV is a 540 motor, the 2700 kV just came out and it's a 550 motor. Honestly, I don't believe there is a difference on the startup because their programming is pretty much the same on the ESCs. However, I've got the 2300 kV here and the 2700 kV here. We may have to find out. CMC Clellan 80 asked, when I did the 1100 kV Hobbywing motor test in the X-Max, what was the smallest pinion gear that I could run? Now I have a 35, in that video I had a 35 tooth spur gear and a 25 tooth pinion. I didn't have a pinion gear that was smaller than that. However, I'm going to assume I could have went, maybe even a 20 tooth pinion on that. Don't know, just don't have any other gears right now. Dominick Kaczynski asked, what do I prefer, rock crawlers or fast off-road cars? I really like doing the whole everything with RC as far as the cars go. However, as my videos prove, I have a tendency to fall back on the crawlers. Jahmen RC Building as One asked, when do you know when it's time to upgrade your alloy of gears? Well, now, if you break your gears, your plastic gears a lot, boom, over again, then you need to upgrade. RC's RC Cars asked me, where do I get my ideas for videos? Well, basically this is something where I read the comments. I'm in the Facebook groups. I comment, post up, and I see people do things here, do things there. Some I agree with, some I don't agree with. So most of the time I just keep on scrolling. You know how Facebook can get when you disagree with somebody who's done something really horrible. But anyway, just basically reading your comments. And some of my ideas come from my local friends. Sean Larman of Jack's RC Recycle and Repair, you hear me mention him quite a bit on the channel. Some of the vehicles that I build, are for him, but they're built differently the way he wants them, which may be different than the way I build, even though I put my own touches on them. I've got a TRX4 build coming up soon for him with a different kind of motor. But yeah, my ideas come from you guys and Facebook, and then things that I just simply want to try. Like, can you turn a racing SCT truck into a competent scalar, bouncer, basher truck? Things like that. Yes, that was a hint. Dezfan asked, why do I prefer comp over scale? Now, when I go to compete with the scalar world, we have to do a little bit of scale. We don't follow the Sorka rules because I honestly believe they go overboard on a lot of their stuff, and some of it just simply takes the fun out of it. So where we run, I usually run the competitions. I'm usually the guy up there talking in front of the crowd, blah, blah, blah. Don't hit the flag, blah, blah, blah. If you kick your car 10 feet in the air, it's a punt of God. Yes, we actually have a punt of God penalty. That has happened. And one of the times when the punt of God happened, he cleared 3 gates complete without touching them and went through the gates on top of that. Yep, it happens. But I prefer the competition of it. This is my current highest level competition truck, which is a TRX4 based truck, and it is what I'm trying to win a series with. I've been trying the last 2 years, came in 3rd, came in 2nd. I'm hoping to get 1st with this truck right here. This was the old, actually the old red and white Bronco. That was Grimlock, which is now turned into a Class 3 competition truck, which you guys have probably seen that as well. So I like the competition aspect of it, If I can make that line, can he make that line? And if he makes that line, oh, I'm going to make the line or I'm going to break something. Competition. And that form of competition can happen in a normal trail ride as well, you know. You and your buddies are out there, some guy blasts up this line, you know, like, no way, I can't believe you did that. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna kill all my batteries trying to do that, or break my truck. Anyway, that's why I prefer competition over scale. Tidus Pernicano asks, what are the 10 best mods for your Axial 10.2 truck? You can go anywhere on Facebook and comment, you know, hey, I got a 10.2. What are the best mods? You're going to get a ton of answers. So some of my answers, you know, may surprise you. Some are probably pretty normal. So the first thing I would change out is the steering servo. Now, you go to a different steering servo. Three Brothers RC, they've got the G13 servo. I've got that in this truck right here. Great, and it's powered straight off the battery up to 4S. I run mine off at 3S, so no external BEC is required if you keep the stock ESC. Most ESCs are only good for about 1 to 3 amps. 3 amps being the better end, usually made by Hobbywing. So that will be number 2, the ESC. Upgrading your ESC can really help out on the throttle steps and the startup, the control, and for a brushed motor, I highly recommend the Hobbywing 1080. You can tune it, you can turn the pulse width modulation up to where it's quiet. You know, maybe not to your dogs, but it's pretty quiet to us. So, and that leads me to the motor. The best deal on the motor out there right now is a 550 motor from Holmes Hobbies, the Trailmaster Sport 550 in the 21 turn. It's smooth, it's strong, and it's pretty darn reliable too. It's a 550 can, so make sure it can fit if you happen to have a tight truck with a tight motor area. But it's absolutely awesome, and it's about $22. The ESC is about $42. Servos, I mentioned that previously. You can get the 20 kg servos. I believe they're around $15, maybe $30 for two of the servos. So those are easy, and I actually run a 20 kg servo, one of the $20 servos, in my Axial right here, which is the super light. If you've been following the channel, you probably know about that truck. It's under 4 pounds. I really like that truck, by the way. So we got the motor, servo, ESC. Now let's get into the tires. Most stock RTR tires aren't very good. You know, there's always upgrades on tires. I run the Deep Woods by Duratrax right here. These have got the big KLRs. These are actually the stock tires, but cut, refoamed. Now the Red Cat IROCs are actually pretty good tires from the factory. Those are the exception to the rule. These are the KLR M's right here. These are more of the stock Red Cat tires. I really like those tires. You can foam them and make them work pretty good. However, tires are real important. And to find the right tire, you need to get with your local groups and find out what works for you in that particular area. Wheels. Most every RTR out there comes with plastic wheels. And in some cases, if you keep something really lightweight, like the Super Light, you don't really have an issue with them rounding out the hexes. But aftermarket wheels, you can spend a bunch of money, or you can get the cheap ones like what I generally run. And they add some mass to the wheel. They add a little bit of weight down low. Now, I don't like a lot of weight in the tires and the wheels because that's a rotational weight or mass, and I don't really like the effect it has on my vehicles. Which leads me to brass. Brass is one of those things you can get too much of. You can overweight your truck, and then you got to have more power to pull a heavier weight. Then you got to have stiffer foams, and then the tires are struggling to keep up. Breaking drive shafts. You know, weight is necessary, but it's not. Kind of one of them things. Your driving style will determine whether or not you need weight for that. On the brass knuckles on the front axle. That's about all I would recommend at this point. Maybe some BeefTubes inside the axle, you know. Sliders. This is something that's overlooked by a lot of people, but the sliders are the little bars that come along the side, and if you have some fabrication skills, you can make your own, like what I did on Grimlock. Let me show you. See these right here? If I land on these, it just slides through. I have electronics on one side and a battery on the other, right here in the sliders. Keeps my center of gravity low, and they work really good. So you can build those yourself, or that's not where it's supposed to be, but it'll stay there now. It's not on the little stands. Now, I mentioned the drive shaft earlier. I use the MIPs. They are really high quality drive shafts. I'm currently building another truck using the OT6 Hero drive shafts, and so far they seem to be pretty good. We'll find out how they last as far as wear and tear and just raw strength, because this is kind of a strong truck with some speed to it. Bumpers. Most of your factory bumpers, you know, they're too low, too wide, they hang up on everything. This has a stock bumper, but I printed a little mount to raise it up higher and cut the ends of it off. So it's about chassis width. But most of the time, bumpers, and ScalerFab actually makes nice bumpers that bolt right on. He has some competition style bumpers as well. You know, you may want to look at those. Radio, the most important part of your communication with the truck. I use the Hack FlySky GT3C. 8 channels, 63 models. I got mixes, I can run winches, 2-speed transmission, 3-speed transmission, all kinds of stuff. But the I think the Spectrum DX5 or DX6 can pretty much run all that stuff as well. Now, I'm not a big ground radio fan of Spectrum, but I do fly with a DX6. I do fly with a DX6. But anyway, guys, I guess that will be my top 10. And I'm sure there's going to be some debate about what I missed. Hopefully I covered everything. Locomotive 282 asks, what's my Lipo routine? You know, charging, storage, discharge, and all that. Basically, if my batteries are going to sit for more than a day, I will discharge them on the charger. Most Lipo chargers have a discharge feature. So you discharge that Lipo, bring that thing down to storage, which is 3.8 volts to 3.85, depending on the charger you've got. I use the Prodigy 610, I think that's what it's called, the quad charger. I also have a high-tech X4 that I use, and now the Prodigy, that actually brings it to 3.85. The X4 brings it about to 3.80. That's all close enough and good to go. But I don't leave my batteries fully discharged. I don't leave them fully charged for more than about a day. Now, I will charge the night before, and you know, they're usually ready to go. Boom, go have fun. And on the discharging, as far as the running part of it goes, as soon as I feel that the battery is dropping, you know, it doesn't quite have the punch it had before, most of the time, I'll go ahead and pull that truck over. I'll either take the battery out, which never store your batteries in your vehicles and never leave them plugged up to your ESCs. They will drain. Okay, I've lost a few batteries by doing that, so I can tell you firsthand. But usually when the battery first starts to drop and you can feel it, most of the time you're actually around the 3.8 volt mark, as in unloaded, when you take the little Lipo checker. So, and that's really close to storage. You know, you just plug up your storage charger and or set your charger to storage, let it go, and it's usually done pretty quick. And for the final question, WRC Hobby asked, how did I get into RCs? I've always been a mechanical person. Back when I was a youngster, kid, I remember helping my father repair a Ford 9-inch ring and pinion. I remember the carrier, and this was a long time ago, guys. The carrier actually broke in the middle. I don't know if he was cutting donuts or something, I don't know. But I do remember helping him with that. I also remember back when I was in the single digits, so about 200 years ago, I've had a radio controlled or a remote control car. It was a brown Camaro from Radio Shack. It was about long as far as what I can remember of it. I remember specifically, I took that thing apart and could not get it back together. I'm pretty sure I could complete that job at this point in time. But then life took over and I ended up getting into real world wheeling. I started hosting events, never really competed with my own truck, but I was hosting competitions, Backyard Bash, Southeast Tough Truck Challenge, been in magazines with that, all kinds of stuff, you know, been on TV with that one as well on Extreme 4x4. February of 2013, I think, something like that. It's been a long time, but I got tired of the $1,000 trips when I didn't break anything. If I broke something, you know, big money. Heck, I had about 11 grand in the front axle housing. Dynatrac Pro Rock 60, ARB, RCV axles. Yeah, those things add up. So RC is a lot cheaper. And I can lift a whole motor and transmission with 3 fingers. Right on my desk. Simple and easy when it doesn't even hurt my back. Getting old sucks, guys. But my interest in RC, I mean, with the scalers you see, because it's so relatable to the real world, except these vehicles have about, you know, scale horsepower, what, 4,000 horsepower? Some of them even more with the bigger brushless systems. But the scale world, that's what got me back into RC with a Venom Creeper. And I ended up building my very first bouncer using an R1 chassis size with Wraith axles. The driveline of that, believe it or not, is still in this truck or this buggy. Same Vanquish housings, different servo, different ESC, different motor, but it has a Twin Hammers transmission in it. Now, what's neat about this Twin Hammers transmission is I got it about 2 months after the Twin Hammers came out. That's how old this driveline is. And it is very loose. It also has the steel gears from Hot Racing because they were the first ones to come out with the steel gears for that transmission. And I've never broke one. So I've had really good luck with that. But I guess to make that long spiel, that long talk short, I just really enjoy the hobby. You know, I enjoy building these things. And in a lot of ways, I enjoy doing the whole video thing, showing you guys, you know, what this part does, what that part does. And when you guys post up, oh man, I saw your video on the axe motor pairing. You know, you saved me. I thought I messed it up. That's a pretty good feeling to get comments like that. So guys, this was probably a really long video. I haven't edited it yet. But anyway, guys, comment in the section below if you want me to do this again. Because if you're still watching right now, thank you. I don't know if I'd be watching this long. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. And as always, well, thank you all for watching.